Hey, it's Jason. We're at the Sunbelt AG Expo in Moultrie, Georgia, and spending some time at the Solis booth. And one of the things I want to do was talk to Bob, who is with Carswell. He's a Solis partner, but Bob has been selling tractors for how long?
Well, I've been selling tractors for a little over 20 years.
Okay, so he's got a lot of experience in selling tractors. I've asked Bob not to talk about the tractors that we're standing in front of, but to talk about, as a new tractor buyer, what are the things that a buyer needs to take into consideration when they choose a tractor? So, top 5, what would you tell somebody they need to be thinking about?
Actually, that's a very important question that everybody should be concerned with. In this tractor category size, compacts and utilities, subcompacts, usually it's a first-time buyer. And a first-time buyer should have a lot of questions, and the person selling them should be asking them a lot of questions. And you do that to qualify the retail buyer for what they actually need. So in this scenario, I will meet a person and I'll talk to them. I'll ask them, what size property do you have? What's the biggest job you can imagine doing with the tractor that you're purchasing? So I'm starting to look at the high end of the tractor that they need. And when I say high end, the physical size. Do they need a compact? Do they need a utility? Do they need a class 1 or a subcompact? So we want to qualify what the customer's need really is. And we start paring that down till we get to the proper size, physical size of the tractor. I ask the customer what their loader needs are. What are they lifting? 99% of these size tractors are going to have a loader. They're going to use a loader. And so I ask questions as to what are they lifting? What are they going to use the loader for? And that's not where we stop, because you can say a loader has a 1,500 pound lift capacity, but you need to find out where that's measured. Are they going to have a bale spear on it? Are they going to have pallet forks on it? Yeah. Are they going to use a grapple? So I find out, and then I educate the customer that lift capacity is based at the pivot pin. The further forward that you go, the less lift capacity you have. So I find out what their loader needs are. So I identify the size of tractor. I identify what the loader needs are. And then I talk to them about what they're going to be doing with the tractors in regard to implements. Are you going to be mowing? If you're going to be mowing, what are you going to be mowing? Is it dense, thick stuff? Is it spindly, weedy stuff? Yep. That makes a difference in the PTO output and the transmission that you're going to use. So I talk to the customer about the implements the tools, the things that they want to use the tractor for. I then talk to them about their transmission needs. You've got multiple types of transmissions. You've got gear transmissions that have many different flavors: straight gear cut, partially synchronized, power shifts, power shuttles. They're all gear, but there's a difference in why you would choose one over another. Some of them are only available in bigger tractors, larger size utility tractors. In this category, it's typically going to be a gear or a hydrostat. And I find out what they're going to be doing. A person's physical limitations can make a difference. A bad knee, pushing a clutch. So you have to identify what the transmission is that customer is going to be needing and using. Traditionally, gear drives have better PTO performance. You lose less power from the engine to the PTO than you do on a hydrostat. Hydrostats, you lose more power. So that translates to the implements you're using, the material that you may be cutting or you may be tilling. So it's an extremely important identifier in that. And then PTO output is always big. You want to make sure that you get the PTO output to match the implements that you're going to be running. So I would say identify the tractor size that you need for the job that you're doing, the correct size. Identify what your loader needs, your lift capacity needs are going to be. Identify the transmission, identify the PTO output that you need, and then finally, tires. You've got R1 Ag, You've got R4 industrial, you've got R3 turf, you've got hybrid tires. You need to find out what the customer is going to be using. If they need great traction and they're not worried about so much of a lawn, you might look at the ag tires. If they need a good all-around robust tire that's going to hold up, they're wider, a little more stable on inclines, you'll look at industrial tires. However, industrial tires are not good in mud and things like that. They're not going to give you the traction that you need if you're pulling certain implements. So you identify the tire needs and you meet that need. So you've got to consult with the client. You've got to find out and really dial in what their need is to get them in the right tractor. And that translates to safety as well. You don't want to get too small of a tractor and try to do too big of a job with it. So as a salesperson, I need to know really what that customer's doing in order to get them in the right machine. And those are 5 things that I think are critical when you're buying a tractor.
Yeah, I think those are great. And one of the things I love about that is, if you're talking to a dealer who is solely focused on price and pushing a tractor on you, and they haven't taken a really personal approach with you, that understanding, I love the example Bob just gave of you've got a bad knee. If they don't know that and they're not asking, you're potentially buying a tractor that's going to create pain for you to use. And that's not a good scenario. So I love the whole concept of making this a very personal purchase, that we want to make sure, or you want to make sure, you're buying the right tractor. This is oftentimes, other than a car and an automobile, or an automobile and a house, this is probably one of the biggest purchases you'll ever make. And to tell you the truth, my tractor is my most expensive purchase outside of my house, because it's actually more expensive than the car that I drive. So you want to make sure you get the right tractor. So Bob, really appreciate the insights, and we hope that was helpful for you. Thanks, have a great day.
Thank you.